We live in a time when the greatest fear Yuva has is whether AI will take away their jobs, how technology will influence their future, and whether they have the right skill sets to deal with it. Is this fear unique to Gen Z, or are these questions every generation has grappled with? How do our education institutions keep pace with a fast-moving world? And how do we educate and upskill Yuva? Joining me today on this panel, we have Professor Ratul Ghosh Chaudhary, advisor, GLA University. Specialization is business management. We also have with us Professor Dr. R.P. Banerjee, thought leader, author, chairman, and director, EILM, Kolkata. Specialization is ethical consumption. And we have Professor Prasanta Kumar Patra, SOA's Dean, Sponsored Research and Industrial Consultancy, Sixa or Anusadhan, deemed to be university. Specialization is condensed matter physics. Wow. Well, it's a pleasure to have you all with us today on NDTV Yuva. Thank you so much. I would like to start with you first, Professor Chaudhary. For the government as well as our society, entrepreneurship really is the buzzword. But when we look at the education system, tell us, how is Gen Z coping with it?
Yeah, so it is definitely a buzzword. You used the right word there. But it will no longer be a buzzword because so how we cope up from the academic side is, if you look at, there's a huge skill gap that the industry requires vis-a-vis what the academicians have imparted. And we have been through that. So the first step that we get into is redesigning the curricula so as to address the skill gap that is there, basically providing what the industry requires. So few of the steps there, I can go on and on this. I'm very passionate about this. Is, a very simple thing. You teach a subject or a course or a topic only for two reasons. One is either it is foundational or it is required in the industry. How do you do that? The first part, the foundational part, comes from the researchers, the academic researchers. The second part, what the industry requires, comes from the job description. So I ask all my fellow academicians, how many times are we looking at a job description which is in the market and aligning the curricula based on that? Second, there are all those internship opportunities, and I will only pick up on a specific internship. There's a social internship.
Okay.
Why I'm picking on the social internship is it's not for profit purpose. It's not out of anything, spiritual. When you're going there as a social intern, you are working for NGOs and other impact funds, you are realizing the problem that is there at the grassroots level.
Which is important.
Yeah, once you know the problem at the grassroots level, only then you'll be able to build a product or a solution to address that problem. Because entrepreneurship requires a problem to be solved, a real-life problem to be solved, not a problem which is there out in the air. Yeah. Then we have industry partnerships. The government is definitely funding a lot of stuff as far as Startup India Fund, the Skill Up India funds, and all of it is happening. So there is a huge, huge focus on delivering what the industry needs. There are those, finishing schools. I will not name specific companies, but all the big IT firms or even management consulting firms, what they've started doing is opening up finishing labs. I would not call schools, but labs within the university, where they actually, spot talent, hire them out right after third year, and then they put them through the intense,
grill them, yeah.
Grill them through. So when they're ready, so they are plug and play. So they are day one ready. So that's how, the academicians are coping up with it.
Yeah, but I think what you really said about working, on the grassroots level, on ground, that's important because that will give you a life skill forever.
Not only that,
the real problems, I think.
Yeah, so I'll give you one example. There's this company called Nano Health. It's a startup. It won the Hult Prize. A Hult Prize is supposed to be, a Nobel Prize for entrepreneurs, right? So they're working on bringing accessible, affordable healthcare to the slum dwellers. How did they realize that it's a real problem? Only once they went out there and lived with them and solved the problem.
I think that's really well put. Professor Banerjee, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to your work, looking at the intersection between Indian philosophy and academics, especially when we look at appealing to Gen Z, tell us a little bit on the business ethics aspect here.
Thank you so much for this question. It's a beautiful, nice question. Gen Z, actually I call Gen Z, meaning it's the terminal generation people are talking about. It's not that. It's the vibrant generation, and for them, they are curious about things. And I found that there are a lot of things, for example, depression, mental illness, many other things are there apart from the struggles for winning the competition and facing horrible negatives, many negatives within the family environment, in the society, in the academic institutions, and in the job market to begin with. Indian philosophy has actually contributed a lot, and it has become very popular among this generation. For example, if you look at certain dimensions of, I tell you, like, I give an example of Patanjali having mentioned Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, Upeksha. Maitri is friendliness toward everybody. This generation is very liberal. They want to make friends with others, and so much so that, on the social side, the friendship is being made with and among people who were never known to each other in any way. So, this is an open field of making friends across the globe. Yeah. No cultural barrier, no national identity, no caste and creed identity, no high and low, no color of the skin, nothing is there. So they are non-discriminative. I support them. And Karuna, it's compassionate. This generation is really very compassionate, Yes. You find in any school, in any college or university environment, a young person is always caring about the next person, next, boy or the girl who is having some difficulty somewhere. And then you will find a lot of people are there to handhold Karuna. Mudita is a very important instrument which Patanjali had advised, which is taking delight in the success of others. This is one area where we need to do a lot of activities, a lot of works. Taking delight in other success is very difficult, because jealousy has come into play in the in-between. But, I don't think that this generation is putting a halt to that and not adapting to this. And Upeksha, when it comes to you as an individual, need to be indifferent in certain cases. Somebody says some bad words, targets you, and so you be indifferent to that. Move forward, proceed forward with your ideas of growth in life, and success is an automatic associate. I've mentioned in many of my books, the mind engineering, I've mentioned in details the concepts of stress management and other things. And there you will find, or also in any philosophy or any book on Indian scriptures, Indian philosophy, there also you'll find that it's mentioned that it's your mental courage and strength. Food can make a lot of changes, but it's your mind which can make more changes.
I think that's a really important message out there for all our youngsters, what you rightly said, your mind, courage, strength. Professor Patra, if I could come to you here, with the market forces dictating the job readiness as top outcome from education, what is the fate of pure sciences, for a subject like physics?
It is already told by one of my speakers. So if you can incorporate the skill training, technical thing, say it is cross-disciplinary. See, you cannot say that physics is only physics. The fundamental will be there, but in some advanced part, because in the undergraduate it is 3-year course, postgraduate is 2-year course, there you can put some computing facility, data science, artificial intelligence, skill training, some subjects. And also it requires a state of the laboratories. So you have to revisit the syllabus, reorient. When a student sees the syllabus, he or she should know, if I study physics, what output and where I can be placed. So we call it course outcome in each subject. That should be a course outcome. And entire course after studying, there should be a program outcome. If I passed physics with this type of subject, you see, we consider geophysics, geotechnology, astrophysics, geoscience. So these are a lot of application areas which can be put into those aspects. It is not fundamental will be there, but if you can make it a applied physics with some influence incorporating the, say, the technical skills, artificial intelligence, data science, computing, say, laser technology, semiconductor physics, then it will be an excellent one. It cannot be, so there will be employment, what industry need, that will be there. And you can have an industry-institute interaction,
Yes.
academia interface, that will give. So students should feel as if we are working or we are studying in an institute where there is one industry is working.
Well, I
That
think-
feeling will be there. Yeah, yeah.
I think what, each one of you have said, I think must be resonating with the youngsters out here. It's really been a pleasure to have you all with us today on NDTV Yuva. Thank you so much.